Okay, I want to talk about subtracting vectors and how that would look in the diagram here. So I got vectors v and u, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take v and I'm going to subtract u. Okay, so that would be like taking 2, 3 and subtracting -2, 1. Okay, and you can basically subtract the components just like you add the components, but what's really going on here is when you subtract two vectors, you're adding the opposite of the other vector, and by the opposite you mean the scalar here of -1. That's going to reverse the vector here. So this would be 2, 3 plus, and this would be +2, -1. Okay, so this would be 4, 2. And so my my answer here would be 4, 2. So basically, in the diagram, it would be like taking this vector and then the opposite of this vector, right? Which would be like that. That's the opposite of u. And it would be finding the resultant vector of both of these. And it's saying that it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Okay, this would be like the parallelogram rule, right? And then this here, and I would get this here, and that would be the v minus the u, this vector right here. Okay, so that's one way of thinking about this, but let's think for a second here about what real subtraction is. So if I have something like 8 minus 3, and that's equal to 5, what that really means is 5 is the number that I add to 3 to give me 8. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 plus 5, and that's going to give me 8. Okay, so if I say v minus u is equal to w, let's say, then what that means is u plus w is going to equal v. Okay, that's what it should mean. And think about this then. So I took v and I subtracted u, and I got this vector. Okay, and basically what this vector would be our w, right? What this vector is it's the vector you add to u to give you v. So there's some vector that I add to u. There's some vector that you would add to u to get v, and that is the difference of v and u. Okay? And so this vector is basically the same as that vector right there. So what this means is if I have two vectors, let's say we'll call this vector v, and then you have some vector u, this is vector u, then the difference between these, v minus u, is going to be the vector here that goes from u to v. Okay, vector w. Okay, because w plus u, or u plus w, gives you v. Okay, so it's the vector that you add to u to give you v. So it's basically, if you have the two vectors, it's connecting. It is the difference between them is the vector connecting the two vectors. Okay, starting with the u and leading to the v. Okay, and that's kind of graphically how you would think of subtraction here between two vectors.